that is exactly what muscle car fans wants to see. Muscle car fans are simple people. We like the rumble of a big V8 under the hood. We want to hear the noise and the screaming of the tires smoke, and that was always the problem with the new Charger Daytona, which Dodge have now, unfortunately, I think this is pretty sad news, but they're canceling the Daytona RT, the base model, completely. It's gone for 2026 because of slow sales. So what we're going to do in this video is have a look at the reasoning for this, and then I want to show you the six-pack Charger, the design in Photoshop, because I think this design deserves a better powertrain than the electric motor. The six-pack is going to be nice. We've heard rumors about it maybe having a V8 in the future. That will also be sweet to see. Hopefully it comes to fruition. We're going to have to wait and see. But before we jump into Photoshop here, let's have a look at what happened with the Charger Daytona RT. So it's official. Dodge is killing the electric Charger Daytona RT for 2026. Slow sales appeared to have doomed the entry-level Charger Daytona, which will be discontinued for 2026. The Charger Daytona Scat Pack will remain in production and could receive a price cut. I'm gonna show you just the crazy discounts you're getting right now on the Charger from dealers just to move them off the lot. We have one in Florida and one in Texas with some insane discounts here in this article in a minute. So a four-door variant of the Charger Daytona and twin turbo engines is expected for 2026. And I do think when the internal combustion engine version of this, I still have hope for this vehicle. I think that is going to redeem this design a little bit. So production of the Dodge Charger Daytona RT is postponed for the 2026 model year as we continue to assess the effects of U.S. tariff policies, says the company. The Charger's flexible multi-energy STLA large platform allows us to focus on Charger Daytona Scat Pack's performance as the world's quickest and most powerful muscle car. Still, I'm not sure you can call this a muscle car if it's an EV. We can't just change the definitions that's been around for decades and decades just because we want to. Because if it's not a muscle car by definition needs to have at least a six-cylinder internal combustion engine. That's just my opinion. But they're gonna add the new four-door model to the Charger mix for the 2026 model year and lean into the new Charger six-pack models. Will launch in the second half of the year. So let's just say the Brotherhood of Muscle isn't exactly embracing the EV revolution. We sort of knew that already when this was coming out, that this is going to be a very, very hard sell. I saw some stats. I do believe it was in the 80, maybe even 90% of current Charger and Challenger owners of the internal combustion engine last generation. They made a poll asking them, would you consider buying an EV for the next Charger? And I think it was up in the 80s or 90% said no. So we already knew that this is going to be a very, very hard sell. So in fact, it seems like their idea of muscle is still firmly rooted in gas-powered engines, leaving expensive electric coupes to languish on dealership lots, forcing huge markdowns. And check this out here. So they did a search here online for Charger Daytona RT, listed $61,590 in Florida, and it's now that's the MSRP, and now it's listed for $34,184. And honestly, for that price, I mean, I think it's a pretty good deal, to be honest. And then you have this one in Texas, MSRP $61,590 again, and it's priced now at $39,055. So dealerships are trying really hard to get these cars just off the lot, even if it's going to take a loss. So it's clear the Charger Daytona was an answer to a question no one asked. Do we want... nobody said, I want the next Charger to be an EV. I want it so bad for it to be electric. I mean, nobody ever said that. However, the design, as we talked about, I think this is a beautiful looking design. It's really grown on me, and I like the interior as well, with the ambient lighting here, with the positioning of the gauge cluster and the infotainment screen. It looks a lot better than it does in the new Mustang, for example. So we're gonna have a look at this in a minute. The front end looks nice as well here. So the Charger Daytona Scat Pack is rumored to survive and is notable for featuring a dual motor all-wheel drive system, 630 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque, way more than the RT's 456 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque, even though those numbers these days, I mean 10 years ago, those were insane numbers to put in a regular car. But now 456 horsepower seems a little weak, and that has to do with the weight, of course. The EVs, they weigh a lot more than they did 10 years ago, so we need to have a boost in power to be able to have the same sort of performance. The 2025 Charger Daytona Scat Pack starts at $68,195. And then you have the destination fee of $2,000, but the 2026 model year is reportedly getting a price cut. Now, the 4-door model is set to join the lineup in 2026. That's probably also going to help the sales. If we have the 4-door with the inline 6, hopefully it's going to bring up some sales here. The publication also says that the 2026 Charger lineup will gain a new wheel design as well as a stripe package that was previewed at Springfest. And this stripe package, I think, looks very nice, specifically when you have it in this trim like we have here. Black with the red pinstripes, and then you have this gray with this logo in the inside of the stripes itself. I think it's a very, very cool looking design. My 11-hour online class in design sketching is now only $47. If you have any desire to pick up the skill of sketching products using simple tools such as a big pen and cheap print paper, this is something you want to check out. Over the years, I've taught thousands of students from all around the world how to sketch cars and products, and most of them have seen amazing results from my classes. Analog Designer Pro Pack is the full bundle of all my classes I've released over the years, and it's yours for just $47. Check out everything that's included and see what my students have to say in the link in the description, or simply visit analogdesignerpropack.com. Now, if I think about how many times have I seen the new Charger Daytona out on the streets, and honestly, it's only one time I've seen it out in regular traffic. That happened just a couple of days ago. The other times I've seen it is when I pass a Dodge dealership and they're just sitting on the lot. It's very sad to see, because honestly I think this design, I wasn't really the biggest fan of this design when I first saw it, but it's definitely grown on me. So let's jump in Photoshop here. This is in fact the 6-pack that we're looking at right here, which is not easy to find photos of this 6-pack yet because it's not on sale yet, but you can see the changes here in the front end. We have a completely new front face for the 6-pack. We have this massive intake now, and we don't have this wing integrated in the front end like we have in the EV version. We have air flowing in here and then flowing up here on the hood. Instead, this is now one single hood because we need to fit, of course, the Hurricane Inline 6 under here, thankfully, so we can't have that intruding on the space there. And we also have a little bit of a different styling here for the side intakes. I think, again, this is a cool looking design. I like that everything, if we want to have a muscle car, what we need to have are all of these horizontal and vertical lines that you see going on here. This is what we want to see in a muscle car. It has a little too organic shape in the side view, I do believe, for my taste. With these fenders, I want to have it to be more straight like we had in the old Challenger, for example. But looking at the front end, here's a proper front end design, and here you can clearly see all the horizontal lines that we have going on and vertical lines as well, exactly boxy like we want to see in a muscle car like this. The daytime light is pretty cool as well. One full light bar in the front end. Main headlights, thankfully, if they were to make bumper headlights on this, it would completely ruin the design of this car. This is a car that definitely needs to have the headlights in the main position. I do like the logo in the middle here as well. And again, this is how you can tell the difference. Let me show you here. This is the difference here. You see the 6-pack right here in the internal combustion engine, and how different this looks compared to the EV, which sits right here. It has a much lower intake and smaller intake just in the lower section. On the internal combustion engine, you need more cooling, so of course you're going to open it up a little bit more. And this is the one now that is canceled, the RT. We still have the Scat Pack in production, the dual motor for 2026. Now, looking at the rear end, the biggest thing here is going to be, of course, you're going to see these tailpipes in the lower section. That is what makes this different. That is the only difference I can see for the internal combustion engine. And we also have this wing up top. I like the design of this because this definitely looks like the older designs of the Challengers and Chargers that we had, and brings back again this boxy shape, very horizontal and vertical again, and definitely looks a lot better in my opinion. It just feels natural for this design to have visible round exhaust pipes in the lower section of the vehicle, exactly like we have in this case. You have a nice muzzle here going over the rear fender. The best photo I have seen of the new Dodge Charger Daytona is going to be this one right here. This is my favorite photo ever taken of the new Charger Daytona, because this, to me, this is the highlight angle. This is the money shot of the Dodge Charger Daytona, because here you can see how beefy the rear tires are, for example. Very planted looking design, and they sit flush with the bodywork, something that is very, very uncommon for production vehicles coming out of the factory. Usually you need to put some spacers here to push the wheels out to have them sit like this flush, and it looks great in black as well. This one being the EV, because we don't have the exhaust pipes down here. But imagine putting a nice diffuser down here, for example, and just slap on dual exhaust pipes. I mean, this would look like a beast. If you lowered it a little bit, maybe even, I don't know if you need to switch out the wheels in this case, because these are still fat enough, these tires. And we also have, of course, the boxiness, the horizontal line. So the design of this, as I said, I think this deserves a lot more attention than what it's getting now with the EV only. And if they put a V8 in this, they are going to redeem all, or they're going to regain all the losses they've made on the RT since it's not selling, if they just decide to re-engineer this front end a little bit. I'm sure they can do it. If they invest a little bit of money, maybe not a little bit, it's going to be a large sum of money to re-engineer this front end to be able to fit the V8 under there. If they can't fit it already, then they're definitely gonna bring back the losses that they must have now because of the RT disaster. Now, looking at the interior here, actually I really like this interior. I like how this wraps around the entire dash. It just looks beautiful, and I'm not opposed to this integration of the gauge cluster right here, because it sits in this bay. It has a nice defined area for it where it sits. Even though we don't have a cap for it, I would definitely prefer to see it having some sort of cap up here, but it's fine. And then we have a very horizontal widescreen infotainment screen right here with some physical buttons for the climate settings, just looking beautiful. This looks very chiseled as well, the gear selector there, and this beautiful ambient lighting with the pattern that we have in the door. It just looks beautiful. It's a nice interior, and this is one of these interiors. Every time I look at an interior, I think to myself, is this an interior I want to drive cross country in and feel like I'm cocooned in the car? It feels cozy in here. And when I look at this, definitely to me feels like a very, very cozy looking interior. And here we have the full lineup. I can't wait to see how the inline 6 is going to perform when it comes to sales. I really hope they bring in some sales with inline 6, and also, of course, my dream for this design is that they slap a V8 in there eventually.